Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Kay Nagyar, bringing you episodes every single Friday, giving you your latest NFL, NBA, college basketball, and college football news, as well as your local Daytona State sports news. All right, so week one of the NFL just passed. Congratulations to everybody that made it through the offseason. And we had an entertaining week one here. Lots of topics to go over, and we're going to be getting into the NFL and college football recaps as always, and then we're going to be getting into the Gamers of the Week. It's kind of my spinoff on Top Players of the Week. It's basically my top 10 NFL players from week one, the best performances from week one, if you should call it. And then our last segment is going to be a little bit of NBA content here. We're going to be doing top 5 NBA players right now. That should stir up a lot of controversy, and it's going to be a fun episode today. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Cowboys versus Eagles. This was on Thursday Night Football to kick off the NFL season. And first off, I want to talk about Jalen Carter. What a bozo week one here. What are we doing spitting on people, man? I know that Dak Prescott was spitting in his direction, but that gives you no acceptance to spit at somebody. I think he deserved the suspension, and that really cost them in the long run throughout that game. If Jalen Carter was in that game, who knows what the outcome of the game could have been. I know the Eagles ended up winning, but 24-20, the score, Jalen Carter is one of those impact players. So he could have impacted the game in many ways, gotten to the quarterback a little bit more. But yeah, man, that really changed the course of the game, and that's what really kept the Cowboys into the game. But anyways, I want to talk about Dak Prescott, man. I know last episode we were talking about, how is Dak going to perform with these weapons that he has around him now? And I think he played really well, regardless of his stats. He made very good decisions. 21 for 34 for 188 yards, and he had no interceptions. Dak Prescott played very well, very poised, and that's why he showed why he's worth the money he is worth. Because we've seen flashes of him and seasons of him without injury that he plays very well. Let's not forget, he was a MVP candidate just 2 years ago. 2 years ago. He played outstanding football, and, I think if he keeps this up, he could be in the MVP conversation again. He played very outstanding. I was very pleased by how he played. Javonte Williams had a day, man, against the Eagles D-line as well. I know Jalen Carter was out after suspension, but 15 carries for 54 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Whoever picked him up in fantasy had a great day. CeeDee Lamb had a great game and a bad game at the same time, which is weird to say, but he had 7 catches for 110 yards, but costed his team the game in the clutch. He did drop 2 footballs down the stretch to cost the Cowboys a game. I know he came out and said, hey, that game's on me, and that shows a lot of maturity from him. I think he's still a top 3 wide receiver in this league. George Pickens, mid-game. 3 receptions for 30 yards. I mean, I don't know how George Pickens is going to perform this season. I think they should have kept a guy like Kevontae Turpin, made him a wide receiver too. I think he has a lot of potential. And for George Pickens to go to the Cowboys, you would think he would have a lot of impact, but going in, I just don't think he's going to have the impact as much as social media thinks he's going to have. Miles Sanders, man, you had a big run, and then you cannot fumble against a good Eagles team. That's a big no-no, man. You cannot do that, especially against our former team. Come on, man. We gotta be clutch here. Jalen Hurts, top 5 QB in my eyes. I know we talked about it last episode. He proved UI. 19 for 23 for 152 yards and 14 carries for 62 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He's, against that Cowboys defense, it was like, come on, pick your poison. Do you want me to throw it on you or do you want me to pass it on you? And I will get into later in the episode. I think that's kind of what we saw from JJ McCarthy late in the stretch. Do you want me to dominate you with my legs, or do you want me to use my arms to beat you? But we'll talk about that later in this episode. I do want to talk about Saquon Barkley, 14 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. He's going to pick right back up where he left off. Where was AJ Brown this game, man? I know he had one target that whole game, I believe. And he didn't do anything. He was quiet all game. Where was he? I mean, the Cowboys defense played the Eagles surprisingly well. But they just got to execute. They got to execute down the stretch in the clutch. I think they could have won that game. That was a very winnable game by them. They had momentum early in the game, right before half, too. Cowboys O-line played very well, allowing 0 sacks. They have amazing offensive linemen still, even with Zach Martin retiring. They have Tyler Smith, and he is phenomenal. Oh, no. Tyler Smith is with the Chiefs now. Sorry. But the Cowboys O-line played very, very well. Cowboys take a minor W this game in my eyes. They kept up with the Super Bowl champs and almost won the game. I think the Cowboys, I think from this game alone, they can show that we could compete in the NFC. And try and make it to the playoffs, try and make it to the Super Bowl. I believe that they can do that. The loss of Micah Parsons did show as well throughout this game. I don't think their pass rush was too strong. Kenny Clark got in there for half a sack, I think. But this Cowboys team, they do not look bad at all. I think they could make a run in the NFC for maybe a divisional push, maybe an NFC championship push if they're lucky, but I just don't see them making the Super Bowl, man. I believe they're cursed, but the Eagles do win 24-20. Chargers versus Chiefs, Friday night game here. Justin Herbert, man, is proving the haters wrong. I also had him in my top 10 quarterbacks list going into week 1, and wow. He played one of the greatest games in his career. Argue with the wall here. 25 for 34 for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's how you play the Chiefs right there. It was interesting enough to see Harbaugh elected to pass the ball a lot throughout this game. And how much success he had on that game plan. I think Justin Herbert thrives when he throws the football. When the ball is in his hands, he thrives. I think last season he was just kind of uncomfortable back there. Handing the ball off, making the throws that he needed to. Let's go back to this pass-heavy Chargers offense. Why not? You have Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston. He played really well that game. Ladd McConkey. You have guys. Will Dissly as well. He's solid. Keep using these guys and let Herbert do something with the ball. A solid debut for Omarion Hampton. He had 15 carries for 48 yards, but he did have that costly rookie mistake at the end of the first half. I do remember, went out of bounds with about 40 seconds left. Could have let the clock run out, but that made the Chiefs get 3 more points tacked on the board. So have to clean that up. But I do want to talk about Quentin Johnston. He is blossoming right in front of us. He's going into his 3rd year, and he is starting to play very, very good football. 5 receptions for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the guy for the Chargers this game. He was very dominant against them. Ladd McConkey, 6 receptions for 74 yards. Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert are back. 7 receptions for 68 yards and a touchdown between the two. They played great. Like I said, Herbert just looks very comfortable in a pass-heavy game plan. Mahomes played solid, 24 for 39 for 258 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions, as well as 6 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy got out of the game very early. You already out Rashee Rice to suspension, and then Xavier Worthy gets absolutely tackled by Travis Kelce, and he came out with an arm injury, and we do not know how long he's going to be out for. I believe he's going to be out at least till next game. I don't think he's going to play next game. Hollywood Brown did step up for this team, though. 10 receptions for 99 yards. Juju played okay. I honestly, I forgot that Juju Smith-Schuster played with the Chiefs again. 5 receptions for 55 yards. He did solid. Travis Kelce had a 37-yard touchdown, but I feel like he's just nowhere to be found in this Kansas City offense. Besides that play, take it away, he did nothing. Where is he in this KC offense? He needs to be dominant again, and I think that's why the Chiefs last season were just so lackluster, was because Travis Kelce was not up to par like he usually is. The defense, the Kansas City defense gave up too many points, and the Chiefs' lackluster offense showed in this game. I think if the defense, that's the one thing that the Chiefs have right now that keeps them in football games is their defense. I was gassing them up last episode about how great they are, and then they come out and, they gave up 27 points to a Chargers team here. I think this game proves that the Chargers could be a huge contender in the AFC if they keep up this production here. They're another team, kind of like the Cowboys, saying, hey, we're here. We're ready to play, man. But the Chargers get the dub 27-21 in Brazil. Crazy, crazy game. Next game, Panthers versus Jaguars. Travis Hunter's first game, his debut, it was underwhelming to say the least. He didn't do much. He got a few receptions. He got a few tackles. I guess this is maybe a little sample size of what he's going to be doing throughout his career, but I would like to see him play more defensive snaps, and I know Liam Cohen has already came out and said that he will be playing more defensive snaps against the Bengals next week, but we need to see him have some offensive production if he's going to be the wide receiver 2 on this team here. I think he would be amazing in the red zone. I've talked about it ever since he was drafted. I think he is a better corner than he is a receiver. There are clips of him at receiver struggling to run some routes, catching with his body. Just a lot of things that a natural NFL receiver would not do. Him at the corner position, I think he could be the best corner in the league. He's got the hands for it. He's got the speed for sure. He's got the wingspan. He would be a phenomenal corner in my eyes, but this is where Liam Cohen wants him. So, I'm not going to brag about it. So, Travis Etienne, I do want to talk about him. He is proving why he is a top 10 running back. Let's not forget that he was amazing 2 years ago. Amazing. He had 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was great. He was a fantasy pick, and he had 16 carries for 143 yards last Sunday. I think he's going to be great in the Liam Cohen offense. I mean, it's not surprising that he put up these numbers week 1. He's going to put up these type of numbers every single week. I'm not saying he's going to put up 143 yards every single week, but they're going to give him touches every single week. They just traded away Tank Bigsby, so that gives him more of the load. Bashal Tutin, he is a rookie. He will play more as well. So I think he's going to continue this type of production throughout the year. Trevor Lawrence didn't play bad, didn't play great. He was okay. 19 for 31 for 178 yards and a passing touchdown, but still threw a turnover. Now, I know it was to J.C. Horn. He is a fantastic corner, high-paid corner, shows why he's a high-paid corner. But you cannot do this under a Panthers ran defense. You can't. You can't throw a turnover against the Panthers. It doesn't look good for you when you do that. So I think Trevor just needs to hone in and lock in, throw the easy passes, make good decisions with the football, and he will prove why he is also worth his contract. Brenton Strange is going to be an under-the-radar tight end, man. He had 4 receptions for 59 yards. I think we could see Trevor Lawrence targeting him more throughout this season. This Jags team looked very solid on offense in week 1 with 26 points. And this is just the beginning of a talented offense under a great offensive-minded coach in Liam Cohen from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We saw him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. He made that team flourish on offense even more than Dave Canales did, who was the Panther who is the Panthers head coach now. So Liam Cohn, I think he can do a lot with this offense, and this is just the beginning of it. Jags fans should be excited. As much as it pains me, Bryce Young played super bad in the season opener. It pains me to say that because I'm a Bryce Young advocate. I think he can succeed in this league. We saw it late last year, probably about mid-season late last year. He played outstanding. I don't know what Rod Wave said to him, but he played outstanding at the end of last year, and it looks like he just went back and reverted to his old self. 18 for 35 for 154 yards with 2 interceptions. He didn't even have a passing touchdown. He had a QBR of 44. I completely thought that the old Bryce Young would not show this season. And that we passed that Bryce Young era, but I guess I was wrong. I guess I was wrong about Bryce Young week 1, to say the least. Tedaroya McMillan played solid in his debut, though. He showed a lot of potential. 5 receptions for 68 yards. Good job for the rookie. Chuba Hubbard, 16 carries for 57 yards, as well as 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown. Just got a contract extension. He's starting to show out for this team. 19 touches week 1? That's good for him, man. This Panthers team, they could rely on Chuba Hubbard to give them the good yardage that they need. This Panthers team did look rough this game, but, I think we'll see a progression like we did last season from this team going forward. So, this is just the beginning for both of these teams, and it was one of those games to see the progression of where are these quarterbacks at. It's kind of like a progress report. 26-10, Jags won the game. Bucks versus Falcons. I want to talk about the refs in this game. Very bad officiating. Very bad. And I think we saw this as well in the Baltimore Bills game with Josh Allen sliding for the first down. They said they didn't get it, but you can see on the film, on the pylon cam, he got that first down. And same with this Bucks game. I think Michael Penix fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line, and then it went into the end zone for a touchback with Antoine Winfield recovering it. So, poorly officiating this week. It was one of the worst officiating, some of the worst officiating that I've seen in a very long time. But without, let's get into this. Emeka Egbuka, man. I talked about him last week as the most talented receiver on the Bucks. And week 1, he proved why. There was a story about Mike Evans. He said that in the huddle, Emeka Egbuka called his number. He said, I'm going to have this DB on a post route. What happened? He got him on that post route. For the game-winning touchdown, by the way. He had 4 receptions for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. What a debut for him. He's smart as well as talented, and that's why he's going to be a top 5 receiver in a couple years. Watch out for him. Baker looked very rusty his first game. Missed some wide open throws. Missed a wide open Cade Otton, I think, on a corner route. He was missing some throws that usually he would hit on. 17 for 32 for 167 yards and 3 passing touchdowns with no interceptions, though. Just missed some throws and threw some questionable ones, almost for picks. Bucky Irving had a receiving touchdown, but not many rushing yards. At least he got in the end zone. I want to talk about Sterling Shepard. Give him some appreciation here. He means a lot to this Bucs squad, further than stats go. He was very reliable in this game. And that's why he's on this Bucs squad still. That's why they kept a guy like him over a Trey Palmer. Because he's reliable. You know what you're going to get out of him week in and week out. Mike Evans played solid. 5 receptions for 51 yards. He's Mr. Consistent. He's going to keep doing that every single week. Let's just see if that hamstring holds up. Michael Penix Jr. played. I put in my notes he played solid, but watching that game, he played very well. He played very well. 27 for 42, 298 yards, a passing, and a rushing touchdown, and he also threw no interceptions. Watching a year 2 quarterback go in, throw no interceptions, that's good. It shows a level of maturity and good decision-making from him. Bijan Robinson was very effective catching the football this week. He had 6 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown with a 50-yard reception. That was crazy. Fireworks at the start for the Falcons early to give them momentum. Kyle Pitts fantasy owners can start to believe just a little bit. 7 receptions for 59 yards. Gave out probably about 12, 13 points for him. Good for these Kyle Pitts fantasy owners. They deserve it. It's been way too long since he's been productive. So hopefully this season Penix can start to target him more. I think he can be a weapon in this Falcons offense. Drake London was targeted 15 times last game. 15. But he only caught 8 of those for 55 yards. This Falcons defense, though, they're going to be outstanding all year long. You bring in a bunch of defensive weapons. You have Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell. You bring in James Pierce. You have a lot of weapons on that defense, a lot of game changers on that defense. And, it's only up from here. They played outstanding. Young Hui Koo, though, missed the game-tying field goal to send the game into overtime. I'm going to be honest, folks. I never thought he was going to miss a field goal. I mean, I know I'm saying that kind of jokingly, but not jokingly as well, because he looks phenomenal. And now they want to sign a kicker to the practice squad. What are we doing, Falcons? Younghoe Koo is a top 3 kicker in the league right now. Keep him. It's one bad game. The kicking industry is cooked, man. It's cooked. It's a shame. Dolphins versus Colts. Man. The Miami Dolphins are a bad football team. Badly ran. They don't play good. I think it's time to pull the plug on Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. Tua looks awful. Tyreek doesn't want to be there. He makes posts on X every 2 seconds talking about, trade me this, trade me that. Show some maturity, man. He doesn't even play as good now. He doesn't put up 1,800 yards now. It's time for a change of scenery in Miami. A-Chain's the only guy on that team that was effective during this game. Seven carries for 55 yards, and he had a touchdown as well. Dolphins offense just looked bad besides him. Shout out to the Colts defense though. They proved and they showed that we're going to be a mediocre threat in the AFC. Daniel Jones turned into prime Peyton Manning though. 22 for 29, 272 yards with a passing touchdown. No interceptions. That's another big thing from him. Daniel Jones, I think he was kind of prone to turning over the ball in a New York jersey as well. And that's why he lost his starting job. Let's see if he can lock in, make better decisions with the football, and he did in week 1. He had 7 carries for 26 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns as well. He looked great. Let's see if he can keep this play at this pace for 16 more games. I want to see how this whole Daniel Jones thing in Indianapolis pans out. Let's see if the head coach has made the right decision to start Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson. Michael Pittman Jr., 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. Tyler Warren, I think he's one of the best rookies in the drafts. I talked about him last episode. 7 catches for 76 yards. Looked great. Jonathan Taylor even looked good. 18 carries for 71 yards and 3 catches for 27 yards. He looked good. It was a blowout. 33-8, Colts win. Cardinals or Saints. It was too close of a game for me to say that the Cardinals played too close to comfort. You're telling me a 20-13 win against the Saints? I don't know, man. I don't know. They didn't impress me this game. Kyler did look good though. 21 for 29, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns with no interceptions. Trey Benson looked good for this Cardinals running attack. 8 carries for 69 yards. I would like to see him and James Conner start to split reps a little bit here. Trey Benson was very dominant in FSU, and I would like to see him dominate in the NFL as well. Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride is their identity on offense. They combined for 11 receptions and 131 yards, and Marvin Harrison had a touchdown. It's glad to see Marvin pick up the pace after a slow rookie season. I know last season he had a great performance. I think it was in week 2. Had a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. He has a very, very high ceiling. And, obviously his father is a Hall of Fame receiver. So I expect the same out of him. He is a physical demon out of Ohio State. He's awesome. The Saints offense looked mid as expected. Spencer Rattler, he's okay. 27 for 46, 214 yards with no passing touchdowns and no interceptions. Kamara had a rushing touchdown. I forgot Kamara even played. Kamara, he's been under the radar a little bit. He has some good games. Lots of receivers involved in the Saints passing attack, though, which is good for Rattler. I like that he's doing that. Throw it to Olave, throw it to Shaheed, throw it to Kamara. Like you got some weapons over there in the Saints offense here. Brandon Cooks as well, not to mention. Juwan Johnson, he is the tight end 1 right now in fantasy. 8 receptions for 76 yards. He looked great, man. Keep Juwan Johnson. Keep feeding him the ball. Olave was 7 receptions for 54 yards, and Shaheed was 6 receptions for 33 yards. Like I said, Spencer Rattler kind of distributing the ball a little bit. Show some potential. Let's see if he can pick it up. Let's see if he can progress throughout this season. But like I said before, the Cardinals win 20-13. Let's see if the Cardinals can pick up the pace in week 2. Patriots versus Raiders. Drake May in this offense looked underwhelming. Drake May, 30 for 46. Why are we throwing 46 passes with Drake May? I know we came out and we said it was on social media. Drake May has a lot of pressure on him, and Drake May said, "Keep giving me the ball." I think that's kind of selfish, man. Keep running this football, man. Mike Vrabel's there now. I think they should stick to the Mike Vrabel head coaching scheme that he had in a Titans uniform. But 30 for 46, 287 yards, a passing touchdown, and also threw an interception. He wasn't great by any means. Kayshon Boutte looked very underrated out of the LSU alumni. I remember him coming out of college. I said, this guy's going to be a steal. I think they picked him up in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, somewhere on day 3. He had 6 receptions for 103 yards. Keep feeding him the ball. I think he's going to be better than Stephon Diggs this season. Hunter Henry, 4 receptions for 66 yards. He played solid. Diggs, 6 receptions for 57 yards. Is he worth that contract? No, not at all. He's not the guy anymore. Like I said before, where is Mike Vrabel's style of offense that we are used to seeing? Pound the rock. You have talented running backs with Ramondre Stevenson and the rookie Travion Henderson. Keep running the football. Too much pressure on Drake May. Geno Smith looked good. 24 for 34, 362 yards, and a passing touchdown. He also did throw an interception, but I have heard that he has thrown, he threw like 3 or 4 really pretty footballs, and he looks amazing. People said he looks great. Ashton Jeanty, his debut looked okay. 19 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. He did solid. Brock Bowers is dominant, proving that he's probably the best tight end in the league. 5 receptions for 103 yards. Jacoby Myers, 8 receptions for 97 yards. I could go on and on about this Raiders offense, about how much sneaky, underrated weapons that they have on this offense. They need to just put it together. I think they have the defense to do it. They just have a good, solid team, and I think they can compete in the division that they're in. I think they can even compete with the Chiefs this year. They could very well end up second in their division behind the Chargers, in my opinion. They have a couple speedsters on their team. Well, and Trey Tucker, he played solid too. And Dante Thornton Jr. Michael Mayer is the Robin to Brock Bowers' Batman. We saw a little bit of Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers. Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers. They distributed them the ball a lot, and I like that of Geno Smith. Keep doing that. So keep using those two tight ends as an identity of your offense. Devin White. My goodness, the throwback name there. Led the Raiders in tackles with 11 tackles in a TFL? What? Where did he come from? I know he was kind of bouncing around a little bit, but see, here's the thing about Devin White. He's very, very talented. I talk about him a lot. He's very talented, but he's not disciplined. And I think now that he's bounced around a few teams, he's going to start becoming more disciplined. And let's see if he can make a home with the Raiders. That would be awesome for him. Harold Landry III leads the league in sacks now. He was very dominant this game, by the way. 2.5 sacks. And the Pats defense had a combined 4 sacks. So it's not the defense of the Pats, it's the offense. And I think we knew that coming into the offseason, coming into week 1. But they need to put it together here. Pats need to play their identity more. If they pounded the rock that game, I think they could have won against the Raiders in my eyes. But anyways, the Raiders take it 20-13. Steelers versus Jets. Not surprised that Aaron Rodgers played great. I said that he could either come out, play fantastic, and an MVP candidate, or absolutely terrible. He is the second year off of his Achilles injury. So I remember 2 seasons ago when I said, when Aaron Rodgers was coming back, I said he might not play well. He probably doesn't really trust that leg at all. And now he probably is putting a little trust into it. So it's not a shocker that he plays great. Let's not forget, this dude is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. Top 7 QB of all time. Probably still is the most talented QB in the league. Jaylen Warren, 11 carries for 37 yards and a receiving touchdown. He played okay. DK Metcalf, 4 receptions for 83 yards. And Calvin Austin with 4 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown. Rodgers got 4 different guys in the end zone. Calvin Austin, Ben Skronak, Jaylen Warren, and Jonnu Smith. That's the Aaron Rodgers way of playing the game. Get the ball out to different guys. Let's see what they can do with the ball. He got sacked 4 times, though. They need to pick that offensive line up. Justin Fields, it puts a smile on my face right now because he played amazing. He played outstanding. 16 for 22 with 218 yards and a passing touchdown, as well as 12 carries for 48 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Football is great when Justin Fields is playing great, isn't it? Don't be surprised if Justin Fields finds a home in New York and stays there. He played outstanding week 1, and I think he can keep up that production. Breece Hall, 19 carries for 170 yards and a pair of receptions for 38 yards. He looked great like he did a few years ago, just like Travis Etienne. He was one of the top running backs a couple of years ago as well. Not surprised that Garrett Wilson played good. Ohio State duo together in Fields and Garrett Wilson. 7 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown. Will McDonald, he's starting to blossom. 2 of the 4 sacks that the Jets had were from him. And an entertaining game also. But the Steelers get the win in the clutch, 34-32. What a high-scoring game that was not very expected, to say the least. Giants versus Commanders. I'm going to say this until it happens. And I talked about this last episode. Why isn't Jackson Dart starting? Russ looks super bad. I mean, 17 for 37. Get out of here, man. Not only that, he also had a fumble. This is a veteran. 17 for 37. Let's pack it up, man. Let's pack it up. Jackson Dart should be the starter. Let's close the doors on Russell Wilson already in week 1 in a Giants uniform. I feel bad for Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. I think they are a talented, underrated wide receiver duo, and they don't have a quarterback that throws them the ball. They had 101 yards and 11 receptions together, yes, but I think Jackson Dart can get them the ball better. Cam Scatabo, I want to talk about him real quick. I'm not trying to hate on him, but he's a social media player. He's like Joe Milton. He looks good on Instagram and TikTok, but he doesn't play well. He had 2 carries for -3 yards. I remember it was a commercial break on the 1 o'clock games. I was scrolling through my phone. I saw Cam Scatabo ran over 2 people, and he got like a 2-yard gain. I was like, what is this? Now, if you're going for a 40-yard gain, you truck somebody, that's different. But Cam Scatabo is officially a social media player in my eyes. I don't think he's going to be fantastic in the league. I feel bad for this Giants defense, too. They played a good offense well in Jane Daniels and the Commanders. Bobby Okereke with 16 tackles today. Brian Burns with 2 sacks. They played the Commanders team very well. Jaden Daniels played good. 19 for 30, 233 yards and a passing touchdown. No turnovers. Also had 68 rushing yards. He is looking very good in week 1 of his sophomore season. That's what we were looking for. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I'll feed into the hype, man. I saw that just a little bit ago that he won Pepsi, Rookie of the Week or whatever. He looked good, though. 10 carries for 82 yards and a rushing touchdown. Could be a dark horse offensive Rookie of the Year candidate at the end of the year. That's why they traded Brian Robinson Jr. Because Bill Krosky-Merritt. Bill! He's coming. He's coming, folks. He's coming. Deebo Samuel surprised me. He had a rushing touchdown and 7 receptions for 77 yards. He played great for this offense, just like he should. I think they fit him in to the offense very well as an element. He wasn't like very overpowering in this offense, but he played good. He played his role. Washington did play a tough Giants squad week 1, though. So it's not surprising that the offense didn't put up that many points, but they'll pick it up later in the season, I think. I think Jane Daniels is going to get over the sophomore year QB struggles, the curse, as I like to say. But anyways, the Commanders get the dub week 1 firmly, 21-6. Bengals versus Browns. I expected this game to be a dogfight. Bengals versus Browns game are always very interesting games. Browns receivers made Joe Flacco look bad, though. Catch the football, man. The 2 turnovers that the Bengals defense got were off of dropped footballs that were tipped up. Flacco went 31 for 45 with 290 yards and a touchdown pass with the 2 interceptions that weren't even his fault. So I think he played a good game. He did. Dylan Sampson, he was very impressive to me by how he can run and catch the football. He's like a little switchblade, like a Cordell Patterson, if you will. Combined for 20 touches, and he could be huge for this offense going forward. Harold Fannin Jr., 7 receptions for 63 yards. Someone to look for as well in this Browns offense. No one on the Bengals stood out to me offensively, which I expected because the Browns have the Bengals number, and it shows especially defensively. Myles Garrett he was very dominant today, or on Sunday. Very dominant. And he shows why he deserves that money that he got in the offseason with 2 sacks and 2 plays. Crazy. Almost got 3 in 3 plays. So the Bengals win 17-16. Not much to say about that game, but if the Bengals create some type of turnovers, they will win 12 games. But I refuse to believe it right now because they literally, like I said last episode, they put $2 into their defense and expect them to ball. I don't know. 49ers were Seahawks. I know the 49ers now are kind of in a pickle. George Kittle's going to be out for a few weeks. Brock Purdy's going to be out. So interesting to see what could happen. Maybe a potential, I don't know, man. I think Kirk Cousins in a 49ers uniform. That'll be my hot take for the day. I think Kirk Cousins in a 49ers uniform would feed families. Really, honestly. Brock Purdy, though, 26 for 35 with 277 yards passing and 2 touchdown passes, but he threw 2 picks. I don't think he played too bad with the chains of weapons he has around him, but, he didn't play great. I was listening to Colin Cowherd's podcast, and he said that Brock Purdy put up this magnificent game like he was Houdini or something. Then I looked at the stats. I was like, he did not look too great. Now, obviously I'm going to give him that slack of, you have different guys around you now, but you still didn't play great, man. Christian McCaffrey decided to play on Sunday. Maybe his left pinky toe wasn't hurting him enough. So, he's very injury prone. I like Christian McCaffrey. He's very injury prone, though. 22 carries for 69 yards and 9 receptions for 73 yards. He's still very prominent in this offense. Ricky Pearsall. He's going to have a breakout year this year. I think that's safe to say. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 for this team. I think him and Juwan Jennings are going to be very underrated this year together. 4 receptions for 108 yards. Love this guy. Love him. Absolutely love him. Like I said, Kittle, he's on IR, but he did have a touchdown. So we'll see how it affects the Niners moving forward. Sam Darnold, first game with the Seahawks, 16 for 23 with 150 yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He played okay. I like to split carries with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I think both of them together could be a problem going forward, kind of like a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type thing there. Combining for 22 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown by Charbonnet. Jackson Smith-Njigba played super well. Shows why he's a wide receiver 1 in this league. 9 receptions for 124 yards. I like this Seahawks defense. I think they're talented and will win more games as the season progresses. I know there's a whole thing about Tariq Woolen right now, how he's kind of getting burnt. I guess he's competing for the starting job right now. We'll see how that goes. But the Niners win 17-13. Titans versus Broncos. I was very disappointed in the Broncos' play this week. Not what I expected. Bo Nix, 25 for 40 for 176 yards and a passing touchdown, and he threw 2 interceptions to a Titans defense. Unacceptable. RJ Harvey looked promising. 6 carries for 70 yards. I would like to see split carries with J.K. Dobbins in future games. I think RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins could be another one of those David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type things as well. Type tandems, as I should say. Cortland Sutton is so underrated, man. Shout out to him. 6 receptions for 61 yards and a touchdown. He will always find a way to get in the end zone in a game. Last season, he was one of the touchdown leaders, I believe. So it's not a surprise that he got into the end zone this game. He's going to do the same as he always does. He's a physical beast too. Titans defense bottled up the Broncos receivers for the most part throughout this game. Broncos got to take care of the football more, and that starts with Bo Nix. That's unlike him. The Broncos defense played super well. 6 sacks and 7 points allowed. We will see this throughout the season. We will see this top 3 defense in the Broncos throughout the season. I think they could lock up any single any offense in the league. Give them the Ravens, give them the Bills, give them the Bucks. They're going to lock them up, man. They're going to. Argue with a wall. Cam Ward, first pick from the draft, didn't play amazing. 12 for 28 for 112 yards. That's it. Nothing flashy at all. He's okay. He was definitely not worth a number 1 pick. And I'm going to stand by this take and die on that hill. He's okay. He's solid. Tony Pollard, 18 carries for 60 yards. The receivers on this team for the Titans are underwhelming. And, just in general, their offense is underwhelming. I don't see Cam Ward playing good this year because their offense is not talented enough. Calvin Ridley's your wide receiver one. That's an issue. That is a big issue. That's your number one. Go get a dominant receiver. And then I'll come back and see how Cam Ward plays. 20-12, Broncos win. Just a snoozer game. Packers versus Lions. Shocker of the week. Shocker of the week. I took the Packers to win, but I did not expect a blowout like that. The loss of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn showed throughout this game. I think that they can put it together, but there's just a lot of pressures on these coordinators right now that took their place. Because if the Lions win 8 to 9 games this year and they miss the playoffs, those coordinators are going to be gone after one season. They're gone. Because with the weapons that you still have, with Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jared Goff, a solid offensive line, you have to put up points, man. You have to put up points. You can't put up 13 points, man. It doesn't look good. Jared Goff, 31 for 39, 225 yards and a passing touchdown as well. And he also had an interception. Jahmyr Gibbs was bottled up on all the touches he got. He got a lot of touches. And the Packers defense swarmed on him this game. Sam Laporta was a bright spot on this Lions offense, I guess. 6 receptions for 79 yards. Micah Parsons made that defense upgrade. It gives them a lot of opportunities. 4 sacks for that group. I know Micah Parsons did have a sack late in the game, but he opens up a lot of opportunity for other talented edge rushers to come in and bring pressure. Isaac Tesla, that's going to be my social media moment this week. What a catch. Oh my goodness. Late in the game for a touchdown. Barely. He got that right heel down, and I was like, that's a nasty catch, man. Isaac Tesla. Look out for him. Jordan Love. He played poise. 16 for 22 for 188 yards and 2 touchdown passes. No interceptions. He played good. I would put him in a top 10 quarterbacks list now, I think. He played good. He played great. Josh Jacobs was effective, just like last season. 19 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Love spread the ball to all his receivers, but Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed did have a touchdown. I was talking up Tucker Kraft last episode, and it shows throughout this game here. Had a touchdown. Matthew Golden didn't hear him. Didn't hear Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden has to step in for this Packers team to succeed throughout the rest of the season, throughout these last 16 games here. Can the Packers keep up this level of dominance week in and week out? That's my big question. To be honest, honestly, it is week 1. We do not know, but I just think that, Micah Parsons is really going to open up this offense, this talented, Micah Parsons is going to open up this defense, this talented defense that they have. And, I think if Jordan Love keeps playing like he does, like he has the past couple years, they're going to be very successful. So the Packers do take the dub, 27-13. What a shocker. Houston Texans versus Rams. There's a lot of controversy going on in Houston. Apparently, C.J. Stroud came out, said the team is lollygagging in practice. When your quarterback is saying that's no good. No good. C.J. Stroud didn't play bad, but the people he got the ball to didn't do anything with it. 19 for 27 for 188 yards and an interception. Nick Chubb on the Texans now. Interesting. Very, very interesting. He's taken the workload off of Joe Mixon for the first few weeks of the season here. 13 carries for 60 yards. I think Nick Chubb will play better as the season goes on. We will see, as well as the offensive line, can they progress as well? Because I know that the Houston Texans offensive line, I would rank them within the worst of the league. So let's see if they can progress a little bit here. Where was Nico Collins this game? Can these Texans receivers step up for CJ Stroud. I don't know where Tank Dell is. I think he's hurt. But Nico Collins, he's supposed to be that X factor for this offense, and he was not there this game. This Texans defense played very well, though. Played very well. So if they can keep it up, let the offense settle in, I think the Texans will be back in the playoffs for a third straight year. Shout out to Matthew Stafford, man, playing through adversity. 21 for 29 for 245 yards and a passing touchdown. He looked good, man. He looked like he was back in the game. You know, it didn't even look like the back issue was affecting him at all. Kyron Williams, 18 carries for 66 yards and a rushing touchdown. Puka Nacua showed his dominance, showed why he's the wide receiver one on this team. Get down, Devontae Adams. Get down. Step aside, man. Hold my beer. 10 receptions for 130 yards. He's an absolute gamer. He's going to be my gamers of the week. This game had a lot of field position play. Not a lot of scoring, but a lot of yards to go around in this game. But the Rams take the game 14-9. Ravens versus Bills. I'm being serious when I say this. That was the best game I have watched in the last 5 years. That game, if you guys were up for that game, you know. Great display of offense and defense. It felt like a duel between Lamar and Josh and who's going to outplay who, and not a who's going to make a mistake first type of game. Let's start off with the Ravens, though. Lamar, 14 for 19 for 209 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, no picks. Also had 6 carries for 70 yards and a rushing touchdown. Derrick Henry, he was kind of in the same boat as CeeDee Lamb. Best, worst game of his career. He had 18 carries for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked unstoppable until the very end of the game, where he had a fumble. It was heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking. Zay Flowers had a dance, had a ball. 7 receptions for 143 yards and a touchdown. What a catch by DeAndre Hopkins over 2 people. I was talking about him that day in the first quarter. I was like, DeAndre Hopkins is on this team now, and where is he? Like, where is he at this point in his career? And then after that, he made that catch. I was like, oh, there he is. There he is. Mark Andrews. Where are you, man? Where are you? Are you part of this offense anymore? Did they kick you out after that drop against the Bills, man? Where are you? Josh Allen proved in this game how valuable he is, though. 33 for 46, almost 400 yards, and 2 passing touchdowns with no picks, as well as 14 carries for 30 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. James Cook, 44 yards and a touchdown, as well as 58 receiving yards on 5 receptions. Keon Coleman, he is starting to look phenomenal, guys. 8 receptions for 112 yards and an incredible heads-up play for a touchdown off a tipped ball in the clutch. It was 4th down. If they didn't get that play, the game, it was over. And he made that play for them. Lots of receivers involved in this game for the Bills. Keon Coleman, Shakir, Joshua Palmer, Dalton Kincaid, early. The throws that Josh can make now, I look at this, he could not make those throws when he first got into the league. The progression is insane on him. Insane. The Bills stayed in the game with the Ravens the entire time. It was a competitive game, but you would always see the Ravens, they're up, they're up 10, they're up 12, they're up 15 with 4:48 left. This game's kind of comfortable, but they just kind of stuck around the whole time. The Bills were down 15 with 4:48 left in the game. They had a 0.1% chance to win the game. Derrick Henry fumbles, and that costs them the game. Ed Oliver was amazing this game. The impact that he had on this game was different. He came up clutch. I think he had a sack. He was just everywhere, man. Everywhere. A truly entertaining game that we got in week 1. It was a treat. But the Bills come out on top in style. 41-40. Bills win. Monday night here. Vikings versus Bears. Last game, NFL game of the week. Monday Night Football was crazy as well. Kind of like Sunday Night Football. J.J. McCarthy, welcome to the NFL, young man. Played great at the latter half of the game. Flipped the switch after throwing a pick six. Usually you see these young QBs, they throw a pick six, they start getting flustered, but J.J. McCarthy is a winner, guys. He's a winner. 13 for 20, 143 yards and 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown with an interception, that pick six that he had. But J.J. McCarthy, let's see if Kevin O'Connell kind of lets him loose a little bit, starts to get comfortable. Yeah, I would like to see that out of J.J. McCarthy. I think he's solid, man. I think the Vikings should run the ball more with Aaron Jones. They went Jordan Mason this game for some reason. He didn't play bad, but he didn't play amazing. 15 carries for 68 yards. Justin Jefferson had a touchdown. And that's huge for the chemistry between J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. Because if he didn't have a touchdown, I don't know what would have gone down that game. Feed him the ball. Feed Justin Jefferson the ball. He's the best receiver in the league. J.J. McCarthy is everything that Caleb Williams isn't, and I mean that in a good way. Caleb Williams has all the physical tools to be successful in this league, but he doesn't have the mindset. He doesn't have the good decision-making that J.J. McCarthy has. J.J. McCarthy, physically, he's not as gifted, but he has a winner mentality, and he knows what he has to do to win a football game. Caleb Williams, has all the talent in the world, but newsflash, you're not Superman. I thought that Ben Johnson would drill that into his head, but, even on the first drive, I was not impressed by him. I know he scrambled to the end zone for a touchdown, but it just didn't look good. First snap of the game, I saw him. Dropped back. He had the ball for at least 7 seconds before he made a move. You cannot do that in the NFL. In college, it works at USC. It doesn't work in the NFL, man. Let that sink in, bro. I was not impressed by him either. 21 for 35, 210 yards, and a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, but the decision-making, it just isn't there, man. It just isn't there. The Bears were in control for 3 quarters of this football game, I will say that. Rome Odunze looks promising. A lot of the Bears team looks promising, but Caleb Williams has to figure things out. Will he ever get that? Vikings played better in the end of the day. That's why they got the dub 27-24. Figure it out, Caleb. People are waiting, man. People are waiting. Bears fans have been waiting for a long time. Figure it out. So that's the recap of the NFL games. I'm going to go into my gamers of the week here. My top players this week. I'm going to start off with Emeka Egbuka. Like I said, called his number. He played great. Justin Herbert, gamer. Daniel Jones looked great. Prime Peyton Manning. Aaron Rodgers looks back to normal off the second year of his Achilles injury. Josh Allen looked great. Came back late in the fourth quarter to win that game. Gamer. Lamar Jackson, he lost the game, but, 40 points, that's on your defense there. And that's also on Derrick Henry. But overall, gamer. Jackson Smith-Njigba, he had a lot of yards for this Seahawks receiving squad. Gamer. Puka Nacua, like I said, step aside Devontae Adams. 10 receptions, 130 yards. Gamer. And Brock Bowers in there as well. He had, I think, 103 yards. Gamer. And then lastly, I'm going to throw in Quentin Johnston. So we got 2 Chargers guys in here. 2 touchdowns. Starting to blossom. Gamer. So those are my top 10 players of the week there. And now we have a little bit, this we're not going to talk too much about this, but the college football games this weekend. Florida State beats East Texas, puts up 77 points on their head. Deuce Robinson, Gavin Sawchuk, Tommy Castellanos. Tommy Castellanos is proving that he is a Heisman candidate right now. Deuce Robinson, I don't know what he was on that game, but he looked great. Gavin Sawchuk, I think, had 3 touchdowns. Looked great. USF, this is the biggest game I wanted to talk about in the college football world. USF pulls off the upset to knock off number 13 Florida. Who can stop Byron Brown? I don't think there's one defense in college football that's going to be able to contain him and make this USF team not compete. They play Miami this weekend. I want to see it. I want to see how Byron Brown plays against this Miami Hurricanes team. I think he can give them a run for their money. Jeremy Bernard, I talked about him last episode. He's proving why he's the guy in Alabama with 2 touchdowns early in that game against Louisiana Tech, I believe. I think it was Louisiana Monroe. SMU gets beat by Baylor in overtime. SMU was on a great track, and then Baylor swoops in, beats them in overtime. Oklahoma beats Michigan 24-13. And, just Clemson. Clemson doesn't look right. Close game to Troy. That was not comfortable at all. Clemson is supposed to be the national championship favorites. And, you come out against Troy. They were down against Troy. And Clemson just doesn't look right now. So let's see if Dabo Swinney can really get them into a better position, a better spot. And then the last segment of the day, my top 5 NBA players right now. This is going to be very controversial. And this is the first NBA content I'm doing here. So, let's get into it. At number 5, I have Steph Curry. I don't think there's anyone that can do what he does, especially at his age. I think with his style of play, he could possibly play another 3 to 5 years if he wanted to. It's crazy that he's still playing at the level he is. He could be an MVP, an MVP candidate this season. He could. I think he was last year. He got injured in the playoffs against the Timberwolves. That kind of knocked it down a little. But I think he's great, man. If he gets another ring before he retires, I think we need to have a serious conversation about putting him in the top 3 with LeBron and Michael Jordan. Have him in that conversation. Why not? He changed the game as we know it, and the impact he has is unmatched still. So Steph Curry at 5 for me. Number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo, best two-way player in the league. Gives you great offense day in and day out. He has a high motor, plays with a chip on his shoulder. But let's not forget that he is an NBA champ, and say he gets traded before the NBA season starts. Let's just say he gets traded to a contending team. Watch out for him. Change of scenery, he could go ballistic. His numbers were MVP worthy last year. The problem is that Shea and Jokic exist. He put up 30 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 6.5 assists per game. Believe it or not, he played better last year than his MVP season in 2019. He's still dominant, and let's see what he can do with this new Bucks roster right now. Changes could be made later in the season. Number 3, Luka Doncic. I think out-of-shape Luka is a top 5 player in the league. But look at him now. He looks the greatest he's ever been since entering the league. I think he wants to prove the Dallas organization wrong. And you don't want to play Luka when he has a grudge against somebody. He's starting to be comfortable with the Lakers as a clear number 1 option on this team now. Watch out for an MVP season from Luka this year. Watch out. Number 3, Luka Doncic. Number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was the MVP last year. Had one of the best years any one player could have. Won the MVP. I think he had a scoring title. He won the finals. Just a great season by him. I expect him to repeat what he did last year, this year with a super talented OKC team. He proved why he's arguably the best player in the world last season, and I'm caught up in the hype. I am. But there is one player that I've been talking about for 4 or 5 years now, and I still think is the best player in the league, and that's Nikola Jokic. I mean, the guy doesn't even look like he wants to play basketball, and he's just casually the best player in the league. He's been the best player in the world for the past 4 years now. There's no one that means more to his team than him. It's kind of like a Josh Allen on the Bills situation. Nikola Jokic on the Nuggets is very important to them. I think he should have won MVP last year, and I think he can do everything on the court. With the Nuggets, you don't get the most talented guys because you just need to surround Jokic with little pieces here. Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, you bring in the Cam Johnson. That's great. That's great for Jokic. He can dish them the ball, let them do whatever they need to do, and just have Jokic as the center and heart of the team. I think he's going to be holding an MVP trophy at the end of this year again, just like previous years. Let's see what he can do to get this Nuggets team back into the finals and restore reign. So there we go, everybody. Episode 2 of the Fifth Quarter Podcast is in the books. Very fun episode today. And we'll see how week 2 of the NFL plays out. We're going to be getting in some interviews next week, hopefully. Some Daytona State sports is going to be coming in. So lots of stuff for episode 3 that are lined up. But anyways, it's going to look great. This sports season is going to be very fun for me to continue out and share with you guys. And I just want to make one note before I go. I almost forgot. Yesterday, tragically, one of my favorite public speakers passed away in Charlie Kirk. I pray for his family, and I was just very sad that he passed away, and I just want to make note of that, kind of pay homage to him, because he influenced me as a person, and I just wanted to let you guys know that he was an amazing person, and it's sad to see him go. Gone but never forgotten. Anyways, I'm your host, K. Magyar, once again, and Fifth Quarter's out. See you next Friday.